My name's Marina English. I work in the outreach team at London Metropolitan University. Welcome to the In Conversation With series. And today I'm in conversation with Dr. William Hughes, who is the course leader for criminology and also for our combined degree, criminology with youth studies. Hi, Will, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Marina.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the criminology degree? What kind of topics do you cover?
Well, I think as you touched on there are different pathways. So some people will do straight criminology, some people will do criminology and youth studies, some people do criminology and law, some will do criminology and psychology. So whichever degree students are pursuing, they'll cover a whole range of different topics, including theory, which in the first year, which looks at some of the ways that academics have tried to explain crime. They'll look at policing and how policing is undertaken. There's a module in the second year that looks at lots of different types of crime. We do, in the final year, some modules that look at different types of punishment, and there are options as well within that students can choose. There are some compulsory modules, for example, criminological theory is one, but then there are options for students to explore depending on their own interests. So quite a range of different modules revolving around crime, criminal justice, and criminology.
Are there any practical elements to the course? For example, do students go on to work placements at all?
There's a couple of practical elements. The work placement's the most obvious, but there are other parts that we try and integrate into the course as well. For example, in the first year, many of our students are sent off to observe what happens in a magistrate's court for a day or even a few days to watch criminal justice take place. And we also try and bring in guest speakers who work in the criminal justice sector, like probation officers and police officers.
Can you tell us about some other career paths that some of your students have gone on to do?
Of course. So I mentioned some continue along an academic pathway. So we've had some who are currently doing master's degrees at various institutions and have gone on to complete PhDs and want to pursue an academic pathway. Many have gone on to jobs in the probation service. Some have been very clear from the outset that they want a career as a police officer. So many have gone on to work as police officers. Some undertake work as police specials whilst they're completing their studies. So many do that. Lots in the kind of caring profession or work with vulnerable people or in youth justice or youth work. Some go on to do things that are quite different, but equally, for example, some go on to be teachers or work in the civil service.
What's your student cohort like? Is it a range of ages, or is it predominantly young or older?
We're really privileged in our university to have a huge diversity of students in both age, ethnicity, and various aspects of identity. I've taught briefly at other universities, and the contrast is dramatic. Many students have said to me, prior to applying or prior to attending, I'm a bit worried there won't be anyone like me, or because I'm too old or I'm too young. But there is just a huge diversity. So we have quite a significant proportion who are straight from school or straight from A levels. We have others who've worked for a while in a relevant job or a job that's quite different to criminology. We have others who've taken a break from their career and had children. So it really is quite a significant diversity in terms of all aspects of people's identity. And I think most people find that there are others that they can connect to.
If somebody were to be starting a criminology degree soon, is there a particular resource you can recommend for them to be looking at now during the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I think most generally, I encourage people to just get in the habit of reading, and because reading is almost a skill, that requires a certain muscle development. When you first exercise physically, you don't get very far, you get tired. But reading's a bit like that; it requires stamina. So any kind of reading, be it literature or a broadsheet newspaper, is good. the text that we most commonly recommend, if students were to buy one, the latest edition is quite expensive, but students can buy an older edition, which is just as good. There's a big volume by an academic called Tim Newburn, called Criminology, which covers lots of things like theory, like criminal justice issues. So that is possibly a good starting point people might like to look at.
Okay, well, what about you, Will? What about your own career path? What led you up to teaching at London Met?
I had a career in the probation service. That was my first career. So I was a probation officer, and then I was a practice teacher, where my job was to teach people who were trainee probation officers how to engage in probation practice. And after several years, I became more interested in teaching and academic teaching. So a vacancy came up at London Met, where I had some contacts and had some input in the teaching before. So I applied and was successful. And I think that there's many staff at London Met who have that kind of mixed career, where they have professional experience as well as academic experience.
Okay, well, Will, thank you so much for answering all the questions.
Very welcome.